guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be on my labor and delivery experience. So let's jump right into it. So very on in my pregnancy, we found out that the baby was measuring smaller than what she should be. She was always measuring about 4 weeks smaller than she should be. So for example, when I was 28 weeks, she will only weigh 24 weeks, or measure in at 24 weeks. Or when I was like 36 weeks, she will only measure in at 32 weeks. So in about my 8th month, my doctor started making me come in twice a week for a stress test. And what that did was basically just measure the baby and make sure she wasn't in any kind of distress, make sure I wasn't in any kind of distress, make sure that I wasn't having contractions, and just that the baby was doing okay. So I used to go every Tuesday and Friday, and it just became a routine. Every Tuesday and Friday, I would go to the doctor's office and I would have my stress test, which usually lasted about an hour each time. So on the very last time I went in for a stress test, which was 2 or 3 days before the baby was born, I went in thinking it was just, a routine checkup, just a routine stress test. And I had my 9-year-old daughter with me. I'm thinking I'm just going to get checked out and go home, like I do every Tuesday and Friday. Well, when I first got there, they did the ultrasound, measuring all the baby limbs and everything, making sure everything was okay. So that was fine. And then I went to the second part of the stress test, where they hook up monitors to my stomach, and they just listen for any kind of distress or anything, and make sure that I'm not having contractions or anything. So at this point, I think on that day I turned 39 weeks. So midway during the test, the nurse stops and looks at me and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." So she continues on with the test, but I can tell she, something was bothering her. So after the test was done, she went and talked to the doctor, and she came back in and she said, "Doctor wants you to go to the emergency room. Your blood pressure is high." And I'm like, okay, usually my blood pressure is perfect. I've never had high blood pressure before. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go and get checked out if it's for the baby, just to make sure the baby is okay. So on the way there, I called my husband, who's at work, and I'm like, I have to go to the emergency room. They just want to make sure the baby is okay because my blood pressure is high. So do you want to just come after work, or do you want, me to come get you and you ride up there with me? He was like, "Yeah, I just come get me and I'll go up there with you." Okay, that's fine. So we go up there, and they were waiting on me because the doctor's office had already called and told them that I was on my way. So when I get there, they take me to labor and delivery unit, but they don't take me to the actual labor and delivery side. They take me to the other side, where they just monitor the babies, and well, when you're still pregnant, they monitor you and hook you up to the machines just to make sure the baby is okay. So so they tell me to put on the robe and lay in the bed, and they hook up the monitors, and they just watching my blood pressure and watching the baby. So now it's about 6 p.m. The nurse comes in and she tells me, we're gonna get your blood pressure lowered and then we'll let you go home. Okay, fine. Great. So my family is calling me and they're like, everything okay? I'm like, yeah, she just said that she's gonna just get my blood pressure lowered and then I can go home. So, no baby today or no time soon. Okay. So at about 10 p.m. she comes back in and she was like, well, we're watching your heart. Oh, not my heartbeat. We're watching your blood pressure, and it's not staying consistent. It's going down, it's up, it's down, it's up, but it's not staying consistent. So we want to keep you overnight to just keep watch over you and make sure we can get your heart rate down. I keep saying heart rate. We can get your blood pressure down. And I'm like, okay. I'm in my head, I'm thinking I was about to go home, but I had to stay overnight. They told me, my daughter and my husband can stay with me. So They brought in a bed for my daughter. My husband slept on the couch, and I slept in the bed. So at about 6 a.m., I'm finally meeting the doctor. The doctor comes in and she checks me. I'm only 1 centimeter, which I had been 1 centimeter for about 2 months. So I'm still at 1 centimeter. And she was like, your blood pressure is still high. We really want to get it down. She was like, so just stick around for a couple more hours and let's just see, what happens. Your husband can go out and get you guys some food or, whatever. So he goes, get us some breakfast. We have breakfast at about 10 a.m. The doctor comes back in and said, we're going to induce you. Just like that, we're going to induce you. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm not ready for this. I'm thinking, I'm just coming in to get my blood pressure checked and I was going home, and now I'm finding out that I might possibly have a baby today or tomorrow. So I'm like, no, I didn't want to be induced. I wanted to go naturally. And because I had heard all these stories about being induced, how it, takes a long time and it's really painful. But she didn't give me an option. She we taking the baby, that's it. So my husband started making arrangements for, our daughter, where our daughter was going to go. And he had to go home because I didn't have my baby bag, I didn't have my bag, I didn't have the car seat, we didn't have anything. I had everything packed and it was by the door, but because I had a whole nother week, we didn't put anything in the car yet. So he had to go home and, get all of that stuff and drop my daughter off. And he came back, and I think now it's about noon, and they take me over to the labor and delivery side, and they go down the process of what's about to happen and all this other stuff. So, I'm just shocked. I just cannot believe that this is happening. Everything was fine yesterday, and now here I am getting ready to be induced. So she just told me basically what was about to happen, and it's going to be a long process, and I probably wouldn't have the baby until this day is Saturday. So she's saying you probably won't have the baby till Sunday, maybe even Monday. That's just how long it usually takes when you get induced. I'm crying at this point because I had my birthing plan, and I had already gave a copy to my doctor and to the hospital and to my husband, and now that's just thrown out the window. Nothing that I planned is getting ready to happen. It's just not in my hands at all. So I changed it to the roll that they give me, and she said that they're going to give me a Cervidil, which is a medication that they insert in your vagina just to soften your cervix, not to cause labor, not to bring on labor, contractions, or anything like that. So she told me, that they had to sit for about 6 to 8 hours, and then they could give me the potassium, which would induce labor, which would bring on the contractions and all, which would help me dilate and all of that stuff. So she gives me the Cervidil, and she told me, go ahead and try to have some dinner because it's going to be a long night. So I get the Cervidil at about 6 p.m. And, I'm eating Subway with my husband, I'm thinking, it's not going to be painful. This is just softening my cervix, But about 10 minutes into eating, which is 6:15, I started getting these strong contractions. I mean, they're coming fast, they're coming strong. They are really intense. Now, I had a baby before, so I knew what the contractions felt like, but this is just, it was something I can't even put into words, and for it to just start, it was horrible. And I'm like, oh my God, if it feels like this early on, how is it going to feel when I'm, 6 centimeters and 7 centimeters dilated? So I tried to, just stick, just deal with the pain for as long as I could. So she gave me the Cervidil at about 6. So I think about 8 o'clock, now it's only been 2 hours, I called the nurse in. I'm like, I am in excruciating pain. I almost blacked out from one of the contractions. So she checked me, and she's like, oh, well, you're only 3.5 centimeters. I don't think you can get an epidural until you're 4 centimeters. Doctor usually don't give epidurals until you're 4 centimeters. Now, we all know 4 centimeters means you're in active labor, and the doctors usually like to wait until you're 4 centimeters because the epidural makes the baby, lazy and sleepy, and sometimes make the mom lazy and sleepy. But I'm like, well, could you just ask her? Because I am in so much pain. She's like, okay, I'll see what I can do. So she go out and she asks the doctor, and maybe like an hour later she comes back. She says, okay, yeah, doctor said you can have your epidural. So I'm like, okay, good, but I'm still in excruciating pain. So it took the anesthesiologist about an hour. So now it's 10 p.m. I'm just now getting my epidural. So, she comes and check me, and I'm still 4 centimeters. And she's like, okay, well, you gotta stay in the bed now. And in about 2 or 3 hours, we're gonna come in, start your potassium, and then that'll get your labor going. And I'm like, okay. So, she told me, try to get some sleep. So I fall asleep, and about 1 a.m. I wake up because I feel something warm down there. I call my husband over, who's sleeping on the couch. I'm like, can you look down there and see what's going on? And he looked like nothing, everything looks normal. I'm like, no, everything's not okay. So I paged the nurse to come in. The nurse comes in and she checks me. She's like, oh, honey, your water bag burst. She checks, she's like, yeah, you're 6 centimeters. She's like, we're not going to give you any potassium. Your body is doing what it's supposed to do. You're going into labor on your own. And I'm like, okay, good. I don't have to have a potassium, whatever. So I try to go back to sleep. And at this point, I think it's maybe about midnight, maybe 1 a.m. And I try to go back to sleep. I go back to sleep, and then next thing I know, I wake up to pushing, like extreme pressure down there. I feel something just pushing against me, and I'm like, that's not normal. So I paged the nurse, and I'm telling her, I feel all this pressure. She was like, yeah, but we just checked you. You're only 6 centimeters, honey. Go back to sleep. It's going to be a long process. And I'm like, I know it's something not right. Like, I feel a lot of pressure down there. And for me to have an epidural, I shouldn't be feeling anything. So then she checked me. She said, oh my God, you're 10 centimeters, and let me go get the doctor. So in the course of just 5 minutes, like, they were all scrubbed in, and they had their scrubs on, and she was down there, she was saying push, and I'm like, I didn't call my sister yet. Like, my sister is supposed to be in the room with me. But everything happened so fast, I didn't even have the chance to call her and tell her. So my husband called and told her, she's getting ready to push. And, even then we're thinking it's going to be a long process. I'm probably going to be pushing for hours. So my sister's like, okay, I'll be there in like 10 minutes. So doctor said push. I pushed 3 times and the baby came out. It took literally 5 minutes and the baby was out. And I'm happy, and just like they checked her, everything was good, she was fine, and they take her over there and measure her and weigh her, and everything was good. And I'm just now so happy, everything. First of all, I'm so happy that it went so fast, but I'm also happy that she's healthy, and everything was okay with her, everything was okay with me. So I'm happy at this point. Maybe 5-10 minutes after she gets here comes my sister, like, oh, I missed it. And I'm like, it happened so fast. Like, nothing went according to plan, but everything went perfectly. So they let me stay in the labor and delivery room for about 3 more hours while they cleaned me up, cleaned up the baby, let me and the baby have bonding time. I started to, try to nurse. And so we stayed in there about 3 more hours, and now it's about 6 a.m. They moved me to the postpartum department. So I go in there, and they giving me all these instructions and everything, and I just want to get some sleep at this point. I'm just so tired. I feel like I've been up for about 24 hours. So I think I fell asleep for maybe an hour, and then I had to use the bathroom. So I paged the nurse to come in. She helps me to the bathroom. I use the bathroom, and while I'm on the toilet, she's like right in front of me. I'm like, I feel dizzy, and then I'm like, oh, I can't hear anything. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up on the floor with about 20 to 30 doctors around me. It was so scary, something like out of a movie. And it's like, you passed out, you fainted, you've been out for about an hour. Then they was asking me all these questions like, who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know why you're here? And then I just instantly burst out crying like, where's my baby? Where's my daughter? Where's my 9-year-old? I'm like, what is happening? Where's my husband? And then I look over all the doctors and I see his face. And I'm like, okay, I kind of felt a little easy at that point. And then they keep on waving this stuff under my nose, trying to get me to wake up. And I'm like, I'm up. And more doctors came in at that point. And I'm like, I'm up. Why do you guys keep coming in? So they just kept on, checking me and running IVs. And long story short, I had lost a lot of blood, way more blood than I should have when I had the baby. So that's what made me faint, and I was out for about an hour. And that whole day, I just felt really woozy, really groggy, like I couldn't really focus. So I stayed in the bed the whole entire day. They did not let me out the bed. But the next day, I felt fine. Everything was good. The baby was good. I was good. So, yeah, that's my labor and delivery story. That just goes to show that even though I had a plan, that did not work out, but it worked out perfectly. Everything happened the way God wanted it to happen. And needless to say, that was my last baby. But it just worked out perfectly. Everything is fine. She's perfect and healthy now. So, yeah. And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.